Good morning and welcome to Chaturday Live. I'm your host, Jason Robinson, and today we've got a two-part show. We've got the wonderful Mr John Etheridge, who will be talking to us about pencil art and all things, obviously, in art media. And then after that, I'll be being put through my paces by the one and only Mr Ben Hale. So make sure you do stick around. It's going to be one of those long shows with packed full of entertainment. First off, for those if you're new to the show, the basis behind the show is that we're here to support mental health awareness and Help for Heroes as a charity. I am here, I do not get paid for it, I'm in my house and we're here to entertain each other. You'll see that you can comment live and I will read out your comments live on the show, so if you have anything to ask me or our guests, feel free to just type a message and we'll get back to you on the air and we'll hopefully answer all your questions. So we are still in lockdown across the country, and as we like to say, it does, it is weighing down on people's shoulders at the moment, to do with work and whatnot. But all I can say is, hang in there. Hopefully by this time next month, we'll be back on the right channel. Hopefully Christmas with friends and families and whatnot. Anyway, so this morning we're going to be talking about art. Now, I have not a clue about art altogether, regardless whether it's with paints, pencils, pastels, chalks, crayons, watercolours. I guess I do know something about art. But yeah, we're going to be talking to our guest. He's going to go through all of it. I've got some pictures as well that I'd love to share with you, and hopefully our guest will give us a bit of a description of, where the inspiration came for them, and obviously, how we get to those kind of, that talent especially. So, good morning, Laura. Good morning, Tom. Thanks very much for commenting. Right, so yes, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please can you welcome to Chaturday Live, one and only Mr. John Etheridge. Good morning, John.
Morning,
How are
you? Well, yeah, stressed after trying to connect this, as you know.
So, a little bit of a backstory. So, for those that don't know, obviously, we don't just come straight on the air. We don't just go, right, oh, hello, here we are. There is, through the weeks and the months leading up to these shows that have only just recently started, I do a lot of information and background searches on the people that we have on the show. And John, I wouldn't say that you're more difficult, but what I would say is been the more entertaining trying to get your internet connection. But you're here now, nice and clear. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good.
What I'd like to speak to you about, and if possible, John, is obviously your career path and obviously your hobby as well. But if you wouldn't mind telling our viewers a little bit about yourself before we go into it, that'd be much appreciated.
Right. Right. My whole life has been consumed with art. Okay. Now, at the age of 9, I couldn't draw a thing. My mother showed me, bless her, when she was alive, she showed me a picture I did at 9. It was the typical child's drawing, round head, scraggly hair, triangle body, stick, legs and arms, right? And that was at 9. At 10, I have no idea what happened. I couldn't tell you, but at 10, I'm being chosen for the school to represent them to draw a banner of a picture that my father, if he was still alive, and it is still somewhere within that region, he still has. So it's like, almost 21 years old now. Anyway, I drew this picture, got sort of praised all over Norfolk, apparently, because at 10 years old, I didn't know anything about that. And from that time on, I've just been known for art. I got into drawing Walt Disney characters, which I was rather good at, and just through the course of time, I've just always had that in my life. That's the predominant thing of my life, and I still have friends. I'm nearly 58 now, but I still have friends from school, and they still talk to me about the pictures I did back in school, and I'm thinking, did I? I can't remember. But yeah, it was weird. But anyway, life gets in the way. Not that this got in the way, but I got married, had children, and all that sort of palaver. I joined the Air Force before that. and didn't go to art. I was more sporty then. I did a lot of cycling in later life, which is why I became known as John Etheridge, a cycling artist, for a while. But before that, I was I wouldn't say I was a good boxer, but I was reasonable. I was Air Force champion at one point. So
Hang on, hang on.
Hang on.
You were of boxing.
Yeah.
Hang on, where does this come from? Hang on a minute. That is a difference right there. Yeah, I mean that's going to fit into obviously our next guest as well. But continue as you were. Continue.
Yeah. Well, I done a lot of sport, triathlons, boxing. I did, and cycling predominantly. And then I became a marathon runner in I'd say more recent years, but we're probably looking at 8 or 9 years ago now. But health has kind of got in the way. Within the context of this show, mental health has definitely got in the way.
Okay.
I got bullied at a job and left that, and that's how I became an artist. Long and short of it, I decided there was no way I was ever going to put myself through all that again, and because art is the only thing I could do, and I was kind of building it up through the last sort of jobs I had. Building up quite a good Facebook following, it has to be said, and I've got some lovely friends that I've made through Facebook. It's absolutely amazing. And I just sort of built it up. Said I'm not going back to work to do that sort of job anyway. And with the context of the health side of stuff, I had an organisation who helped me set me on the path to become a full-time artist. Having said that, coronavirus has now got in the way. It's not as good as it was, but we're still here and we're still painting. Even if I can do it for the love of it, then I will. So
well,
yeah.
Let's talk about art then, if you don't mind. So you've sent me over some photos of some of your work. If you don't mind, we're going to put a few up on the screen, and if you don't mind, just talking us through the inspiration behind a few of them, that'd be really helpful. If you don't mind. So this one that we've got here, then, John. So so where's this?
That's God's Hill in the Isle of Wight.
Okay.
Probably the most photographed and painted scene in the whole of the UK, probably. But I have a love affair with the Isle of Wight. I went there as a kid. My father took me. We went a few times. I then went there when I was in the Air Force for a holiday, and then I've took my wife and my children 5 times. And it was always my ambition to paint something from the Isle of Wight. And this is actually quite a recent one, actually. This is actually my first ever attempt at watercolour pencils. It's inspired by God's Hill, which is this little hill in the Isle of Wight. And it was done last year. I went on holiday to the Isle of Wight, took my wife, had the most wonderful time. We thoroughly deserved it. We hadn't had a holiday for 20 years before that. So yeah, that's where that came from.
So you
pretty pleased.
Well, we'll talk a bit more about this one. And so what I can see in this, obviously there's a lot of colour. There's a lot of things going on. I mean, where do you start? I mean, where's your main focal point then when you start something?
Probably on this one, I almost undoubtedly started at the top, at the sky. I don't always. I used to always start from the top, work down and left to right, or wherever it's suited. That's just a feeling you have that you can't describe. But with this one, I almost undoubtedly started at the sky and, worked my way down. That's not to say I do that all the time now, because a lot of the time now I like to get a result early on, so I work on the main focus and then work around it. I think that's what comes with if people don't mind me saying, it comes with experience, because you become able to do that. You know what you can do and what you can't do. So yeah. So
well, all right. So this one.
Oh, that's the ugliest painting I've ever done in the middle there. Yeah.
So this is somewhat of like a self-portrait with your family, then I'm guessing.
Yeah, I did this especially to go on Portrait Artist of the Year.
Okay, yeah.
And because I know they like something different, I thought, well, how can I be different here? Because in all honesty, that pose for me is a typical pose.
Right.
You know, I can't say I've ever seen a photograph of me looking any different. And I thought, well, it'd be nice to have my wife in there because my wife, she is the most supportive person in the whole world and the loveliest person in the whole world. And when we've been married 35 years now. And I thought, well, I've got to have her in it. It's not the best painting of her, but it's as her as she was at the time. She was very tired at the time. And I thought, well, that'd be lovely to have my granddaughter in there as well. So what I did was I got my wife to take a photograph of me. I then took a photograph of her in that position on a separate day. I then got my granddaughter around and said to her, "Can you come with me? And it's outside my studio door here, actually. Can you come with me? And I'd like to take a photograph of you that I'm going to put on this painting." And knowing how she stood there, she's quite modelish. She's very good, actually. She's good at posing. But I said to her, I said, "Do us a favour, lean over and stick your tongue out." I said, "As if you're coming from behind me, and stick your tongue out." And she did. And it was brilliant. And I thought, and I constructed it all together. I thought, how can this look right? How can I make this look right? And I came up with that painting. It's quite big. I'd say probably about A2 size, possibly a bit bigger. But it was 3 separate photographs, 3 separate days, and a little bit of imagination. And I sent it off to Portrait Artist of the Year. I don't think it was quite quirky enough for them, but we tried.
Okay. And then this one's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I get a lot of comments about this one, it has to be said. I did this one, oh my word, probably 20 plus years ago now. This mill is Hunsett Mill. Now, Hunsett means eel set. Now, eels lives in sets, I believe, and Hun means eel. That's typical Norfolk sayings. Anyway, this is on a bend in the river, hence the sort of the way that looks as if that hopefully looks like as if it might be on a bend. And my wife's mother used to work at a boatyard not far from that, so kind of like that's in the middle of me and her at the time. And I went down there and said, "Can I borrow a rowing boat?" So unlike most people, I actually got to be on the river to take a photograph of this, and then added the detail I wanted. The swans specifically, you always got to have a bit of life in it. And I came home and did a pastel painting from it. That one belongs to someone else. I have no idea.
That's pastel work.
That's pastel, yeah. The previous one was pastel pencil, and the previous one to that was watercolor pencil.
Right, okay, so we've got, right, hang on. So I'm having a look here. The attention to detail is second to none. You've not left anything. I mean, I'm never going to be able to do that, but how do you do the water like that? I mean, obviously, with the reflection and whatnot, I mean, is it again, so you're literally copying from a photo that you've taken, but obviously the artwork that needs to go into it is the talent. I mean, anyone can take a photo. It's replicating it. So again, how would you start with that one then? Is that again like top to bottom, or with the water?
I did start from the top on this one. I've got to say, this does look immensely better than the photograph.
Okay.
You have to kind of try and highlight it and bring out the lights and the darks. I'm a big fan of light against dark. I feel you've got to go as dark as you can humanly go and go as light as you humanly go. Then you can pull a picture apart and you can get the depth to it and the 3 dimension. That's my opinion. But no, with this one, I started at the top. And basically what I do is I put in a layer of the most predominant color.
Right.
So the sky would have been, in this case, it was a Carillion blue. And I go down as far as I can. I've drawn out a specific bit of detail, not much, hardly anything really. But I go down to the top of the trees and beyond, because you can with pastel. And then what I did was I put a layer of green grey. It's like a green, but it's got lots of black mixed to it. But it is an actual green grey colour. You can see it probably in the just above the boathouse there. So I put a layer of that in. I then think to myself, well, that's not the darkest values. Let's get the darkest values in there. Pardon me again. And then I put in the splodges of dark area where they need to be. And then I bring it forward with all the light colours. Same with the lighthouse. Lighthouse, the windmill. I would, that terracotta colour, I would fill that in with a terracotta colour. I would then add the dark colours to the side of it, going as far as black, and umber browns and what have you. Give it a bit of sense of dark and light, and then I would pull apart them darks and lights. So I'd darken up the dark areas, but also add the lighter areas on the right-hand side of that windmill, and just it look as round as I humanly can, just by using the dark and the light. It's not necessarily about colour all the time. But the water, effectively, it's just, to make it sound very simple, is just a copy of what's above it. But what you do have, you have like, take that bush there and that boat hut. Them colours will break up and merge into the other colours. So as much as the water is moving, you can, if you want it a lot, you'll break it up and move them colours a bit further on, so that colour where the water has flowed over is reflected in that colour further along. Or you can just do it a little bit. In this case, I've done it kind of like a mirror, but it's kind of broken up. And the grey from the top of the hut could potentially go into the top of the brown of the top of the hut, and potentially as far as the bush there, and vice versa, depending on which way the wind would go.
Right, John, I've had a question coming, if that's all right.
Oh no.
It's not bad. It's actually from last week's guest, Mr. Tom Tonks, who's tuned back in again.
Hello, Tom. Great interview last week, by the way.
Yeah, so thanks again last week, Tom, for coming on. It's much appreciated, and it was thoroughly enjoyed. And your video last week, Tom, has now officially reached over 1,000 views. So well done, Tom, and thank you very much for coming on the show. Tom has asked, how long does an average piece take you, and how many have you started but not got around to finishing? That makes sense.
In the early days, I had a lot that I started that didn't get around to finishing. I can remember I used to live in another house, and I used to do it in the living room, and I can remember the board even being chucked across the living room.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've kind of learned the hard way, but nowadays there's not many I don't finish. Very few, in fact. I mean, probably one a year that I don't finish.
Okay.
Having said that, I don't do millions in a year. I don't know, probably between 12 and 20 pictures. I kind of have a series of pictures that I do all of a sudden. Then all of a sudden it could be 2 months before I do another one. But that's, how it is. But not many get chucked away nowadays. I think the thing is, over the course of time, I've learned how to rectify the mistakes.
Okay.
Or even come away from them and go back to them and think to myself, I know how I can mend that. So not many get chucked away. As for how long it takes me, I've got to be honest and say I can't really answer that. The only picture I've ever timed is that self-portrait, and I did that because of the show. Now, I think that self-portrait took me around about 8 hours. The main focus, if you like, for want of a better thing to say, of me. That took me just over 4.
Right.
So that was quite quick. But I mean, I come into my studio as and when I feel like it. So
Yeah. Okay, well, we've got Laura as well, and again, Laura was one of our guests. Good morning, Laura. She was our NHS worker who came on to just give us a lowdown on what was going on in the hospitals and face masks and stuff. So, good morning, Laura, and thanks again for being on the show. She's asked, do you have a favourite piece? I mean, if you had to pick one, do you have a favourite? And do I have that one?
Kind of.
Okay.
I kind of do, but I know this sounds awful, really, but I always feel in the more recent years, probably the last 5 years, the next piece seems to be my favourite piece for quite a while. Yeah. I said to my wife once, I said, I don't know what it is, Karen, but I seem to be getting better in my eyes. So that the next one seems better than the last one. And that's kind of how I've been. I try so many mediums as well. And when I do a new medium, that all of a sudden becomes my favourite one because it's new, it's different, it's shiny, and I didn't know I could do that sort of thing. So that becomes my favourite. But I do have quite a fondness. Can I show you it?
Go for it, please do. Yes, please do.
Yeah. So hang on, let me.
Oh, I think we've managed to lose John. I think he's possibly turned his phone off. As we said at the beginning of the show, he's not exactly the most technical-minded person on the show, so he will probably be back, so give us time. Well, while you're there as well, so while I've got you here, thanks again for everybody that's watching. So you probably noticed that up and down for the last couple of weeks on our social media, we've been going on and on about these charity mugs. Now, none of it's for me. It's no profit for me. John will be back with you in 2 seconds. Stay where you are. We're talking about these charity mugs, which is these, and we do have these ones here. Now, if you do want to purchase one of these mugs, which has got the show logo on it and the name at the bottom, they're £8.50 or £15 for 2, and all the profits of that go to Help for Heroes and mental health awareness, and that's what the show is about. It's purely for going that extra mile, to do the show. Obviously, the show is here to support those with mental health and obviously brighten up people's day on a Saturday morning. But if you'd like to contribute money and get something in return, please contact the show directly, message us, and we'll get you a mug out to you ASAP. And hopefully, the reason why we've got the mugs as well, and you'll find out from next week's guest as well. I won't tell you too much about it, but it's a small business as well. This isn't something that's done on the internet, mass marketed with 5,000 people, and they're making money everywhere. This is a small business, and the gentleman, he's doing these for me as and when I ask for them. So I've not bought in stock, so he's putting his time and effort in as well. He makes a little bit out of it, and then all of the profits that were going to come to me go straight on to the Help for Heroes and Mental Health Awareness charity. So again, if you do want one, get in touch. There we go. And John's back. Bear with me. John! Here you go!
I'm still causing you problems, Jason. Sorry.
Right, hang on.
Anyway,
Let's hang on. 2 seconds. Right, this needs to be deserved, right? Not me. Hang on. So there we go. Let's have a look. Oh, yes.
Sorry about that, Jason.
I have that one available, so we'll get to that as well. But
that's probably my favourite one.
That's beautiful. When we get to it, I've actually got the hard copy here, so when we eventually scroll across to it, we'll be able to have a look a little bit more closely and ask a few more questions about that, because that's a beautiful one. Do you know Sharon? Sharon O'Brien from Wales.
Yeah,
Wet and windy Wales.
Morning, Sharon.
Yeah, hello. Right, so if we get these back up there, bear with me. Right. So hopefully this, here we go. Right. And if by magic, hopefully, there we go. Now this one, This one says so much in one picture. You've got the water, you've got an animal, you've got the background, you've got movement. I mean, John, to me, that's pure talent. But again, where do you start? Do you start on the focus, or are you starting from the behind?
On this particular one, I started with the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There is a story. There is a story behind this one, actually. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest and say that the swan itself is plucked from a copyright-free image from the internet.
Okay.
Right now, however, I have done what I wanted to do with it. I've turned it round for starters, so it's swimming in completely different direction. That's just a bit of computer wizardry. Anyway, I about a year and a half ago was bizarrely and it was brilliant. I was asked to be an ambassador for the SAA. Now, the SAA used to be called the Society of All Artists, and started off as the Society of Amateur Artists. Now they just call themselves the SAA. Don't ask me. I have no idea why that.
I mean, everybody probably knows that already, John. I mean, come on, who doesn't know about the SAA?
Right. Well, I joined them as a professional associate, and then after about a year of being in them, they asked me if I'd be a pastel ambassador. So obviously they must have liked what I did. So they sent me these pastels and said, right, we want you to produce a picture for the monthly magazine using only the SAA pastels. Now, the SAA pastels, they are great. There's no two ways about it, because if they weren't, I wouldn't be an ambassador. However, they're not the top of the range, and they're far from the bottom of the range. So I produced this picture, and I did it as a tutorial, and that is only using the SAA pastels, and kind of is an example showing what you can do with them pastels. So yeah, that's what I got. So yeah, I was very pleased with it as it happens. It is actually I thought it was hanging on the wall back here, but it's not. Yeah.
Cool. Where's this one from, John?
Right, that's the wife. No, not really.
Again, you see, this is the thing. The reason why we've chose these photos, John, is because there's such differences in them. Again, for me, I know nothing about drawing, and if you asked me to draw anything such as a house, it would be crooked with 3 sides, so don't ask. But the detail in this, I could never do a face. I could never draw a face. I thought it's either got wonky eyes or the head's all lopsided. So, I mean, again, do you predominantly take from a photo and then copy the image, or is this like, say, some people do obviously from still life or from memory, or how has this one come about?
Do you know all of that, Jason? All of that. I do. The first part is I come up with an idea in my head of what I want to paint. Now, I've always wanted to paint something. I did 2 ballet pictures in the same style as this before getting to this one, but I've always wanted to paint a beautiful woman as an angel, and it's something I've had in my head for so many. Oh yeah, that was one of them. That was the first one, in fact. And I ended up finding some what they call Conte crayons, and there's about 5 tones of these Conte crayons. So there's only 5 tones in each of these pictures. And that ballet one you can see there was the first ever one I did. I ended up finding the 2 girls from completely separate areas of the world, probably, on photographs, and putting them together, and then ended up thinking, what can I have as the background and the side, make it look like a ballet school, and kind of then just used the very new crayons that I had. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I had a go.
Amazing.
So I did another ballet one. I used the black Conte crayon on that one. and then I progressed to the angel. I found a picture of this young lady online, and decided that's the one. That's the one. That is the picture I've got to use to try and do what I want to do with it. And then kind of made the wings up, really. Kind of made it up myself. It was a black and white photograph, so I kind of made the colouring up myself. Well, in fact, on all of these, because two of them were colour photographs, one was a black and white photograph, and I've just turned them into earth or brown tones, if you like. So yeah, it was an ambition fulfilled. And my next thing after this now is I went on to gouache, which is a type of watercolour, and now I'm having a go with oil pastels. And I kind of have a go, and I learn from the mistakes.
So where's this one then? Is this Norfolk?
No, that actually has been plucked from the internet again. I find copyright-free images and then adapt them to what I want them to be. Now the dog wasn't even in this picture, and pretty much, albeit there was a horse in the photograph and there was a cart in the photograph, everything else was missing.
Right. So
I kind of
you've not only you've adapted the picture, but you've given this poor man who's obviously working hard. He's now got to feed a dog as well. So you've given him another mouth to feed if he didn't already have a bad day. So, but again, right. So we'll get back for a couple now. So we'll get back to where we were. This one. Who's this?
That's Bill.
Bill, of course it is.
Sorry?
Of course it is. Who's Bill?
Yeah, Bill's a local, I'd like to say friend, but I'll call him villain now. He's a local man who lives around here, and he used to hang about at the cafe, and I used to see him every single day that I was walking the dogs, and I thought, he's a picture in the making. And one day I approached him and I said, Bill, I want to paint your picture. Would you mind? And he said, no, absolutely. And I painted, I drew that, because that's actually just ordinary pencil. And I asked him if he would just sort of do a few photographs on his bike, and he did. And I brought them home and adapted them to a graphite picture.
Has he seen these?
Yes, he has a copy of this, yeah.
And what was his opinion?
Oh, he loved it. He absolutely loved it.
All right, well, there you go then. You've scored on all high levels.
Yeah, well, I even managed to. At one point I was trying to get a gift range done up, and I even managed to get him a hip flask with that picture on it as well. So that was nice, and I gave it to him for his 65th birthday.
So, obviously you've been on Radio Norfolk.
Yeah, that was a while back.
That was a while back. Now, where's this?
That's Norwich Market.
That's Norwich Market. Oh, of course it is.
Yeah, that's Norwich Market. That's the road that goes down towards Gerald's.
That's it. Keep going up. There's HMV.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's pastel pencil again. I was friends with a lady. Well, I still am friends with a lady who did a bit of photography, and she took this photograph on her mobile phone one day, and I looked at it and I thought, there's a lot I can do with that. And I mean, it was a great photograph anyway. I personally think the painting's better, but I would. Anyway, I said to her, would you mind if I use that to just kind of do some painting from? And she said, yeah, go for it. So I did. It was quite a difficult one, as it happens. There was a lot of differences to this one that wasn't kind of straightforward like the other ones. But yeah, no, it turned out kind of quite well.
Again, the detail on this one, John, is Kia, you've not put a Q in front of your question, but I'm sure that's what it's meant to be. What was there a pivotal moment when you realised you had a flair for art?
I think probably it was way back when I did that school thing. possibly even before that. That was so many years ago now, I can't really say for certain, if I'm being honest. All I know is at 9, I couldn't do anything. At 10, there was a change.
Well,
where that change came in that year, I have no idea. So that would have been then.
All right, let's get to. You got owls, tigers. Again,
Yeah.
You see the pictures. Obviously, they all tell a story because obviously because of the picture itself. But when you look closer and you look at the artwork involved, like the brickwork and like obviously the faded bricks and the window and obviously the cat that you've got in there that you probably didn't see it the first time you looked at it. Again, I mean, these are all. So this is pencil art. This one is it all?
This is in fact, I was, as you were scrolling through, I was noticing that most of them are kind of all different mediums. I hadn't really noticed that before. But this one is what they call Conte carbon pencil. It is pencil,
Yeah.
but it's Conte carbon. It's kind of like a mix of charcoal and graphite. So it's quite a hard pencil, but it's really nice. This one's really appropriate for the moment. I actually drew this one with this moment in time in my mind.
Okay.
It's called self-isolation.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I once again I found a suitable image that I adapted, changed it around, reversed it, messed about with it and did whatever I wanted to do. This isn't Photoshop or anything like that. This literally is just me reversing a picture and maybe darkening it up a bit so that I get the tones I want, and then having a go. It's nothing like the photograph, but you've got the girl who was one image, you've got the cat who was kind of another image because it was half done from imagination, and then the background and the curtains, that was kind of all imagination, based on proper scenes, if you like. But I called this one self-isolation. I just thought it summed up everything, but at the same time was kind of I thought, in my opinion, was kind of pretty enough to make you feel good about it.
Well, right. This is the one that you wanted to talk about. So let's talk about it. So where's it from? What,
Right.
where did you start? Give us the detail.
Oh, where did I start? I started with the girl in the middle. I can tell you. Right. And then I worked to the other two children outwards. It may be that I hadn't finished the girl in the middle. I might have done perhaps the top half of her and then progressed to the heads and the top half of the other children. Anyway, this was a photograph. I think it was a friend of mine who said anytime I want to use his images, I can. And these are actual children that live in Madagascar.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the picture's called Madagascar Moments. Now, she was doing something. I always like to have, if I can, a little bit of life going on. So hence there might be a dog or a bird or they're doing something or whatever. Now, I never had any background to this, so it's kind of, what can I do? So what I did was I did the girls, I did the two children, I missed out other children that were in the picture, and then found a dog that was laying in the most suitable position that I could add to the picture that would be with them, and then kind of made up the background myself, thinking, what can I put in there? What would be suitable? So I looked at photographs of Madagascar villages and sort of thought, well, yeah, this would suit, that would suit, and kind of used a bit of imagination, really. I mean, the dog wasn't there, the ball wasn't there, there was extra children in the picture, the background wasn't there. It's kind of like doing a bit of research, I suppose, to make it look right, and come up with a scene in your head and then think, well, where can I find things that are going to help me to make this scene?
Right. So if we go into the art side of things, so if I was to start off and go, right, I want to do art. I want to do something where I can draw, paint, anything like that. where's my starting point? Other than obviously going to get the suppliers I need, but if you're a novice, are you saying, I'm going to go out and do paint by numbers, or or are you saying, right, go and do what you've done, find a decent image and elaborate on it? I mean, from a completely novice point of view, what would your opinion be to say, right, this is where I recommend you should start?
Right. Okay. My opinion. Well, I have people kind of ask me that question when they say about coming to an art group that I run or was running until this COVID lark. They say to me, "What do I need?" And my answer is always the same: one pencil, one piece of paper. You don't need anything else.
Right.
You can make a picture with one pencil and one piece of paper. We progress from there. I can then show you. You need somebody who. I mean, I'm still learning. There's no doubt about that. But you need somebody who's experienced the different things that you can use in the different mediums to be able to push you forward. I mean, there are simple tools that cost peanuts, and they will absolutely just make you accelerate so much in the pictures you're doing. So with one pencil, one piece of paper, and one certain piece of paper, which is a tool, manufactured into a tool, I could actually change your pictures dramatically. But people don't know that unless you find someone who can tell you or show you. They're never going to know. No. So it's kind of like, piece of pencil, piece of paper, and somebody to help.
Right, John. Sam Wright has quite clearly wrote on the comment section, go to John's art classes if you're a newbie and local. He taught me so much. So, I mean, obviously that you've paid Sam off and told him that you're coming on the show. But what I'd like you to tell us is, how do people obviously get in touch with you? Where can they see your work? Where, and all of that. Could you go through that for us, so people know where to find you after this?
Yeah, well, Facebook, plain and simple, Facebook. Just look for me on Facebook. I then have a few groups that I run that I'll over the course of time will introduce you to, and there are so many good artists on there. And there are so many beginners as well. So it's a great place to be. But if you come onto Facebook and just talk to me, I mean, you've probably noticed I talk a lot.
Give us the address, John. Give us the address. What's your Facebook pages? Where can what are they typing in to find?
Well, I think my main Facebook page is John Etheridge, Fine Artist SAA Ambassador, something like that.
Okay. Well,
I can't remember the exact title.
What I'll do is I'll look for it later, John. And what I'll do is I will post a link to your Facebook page on our Facebook page. People can come and find
such a long-winded title, I can't remember it.
That's all right. And you've got John Etheridge, the cycling artist page as well. That's up there. So you can find John. You'll be able to find his artwork on his pages as well. And if you do want to get involved, John, where are you based again?
I'm at Stalham in Norfolk.
Stalham in Norfolk. So if you're in the area, post-COVID, and we can all start, meeting each other again, maybe give John a message, maybe let him know that you're in the area, and, you never know, you might be able to take up a class, or if not, maybe speak to him in person and, get some tips and stuff like that. John, it's been nothing but a pleasure today talking to you. I've learned a lot about art that I probably wouldn't have even scratched the surface on, but I will definitely be keeping in touch with you, John, and I know that there are other people that have watched the show and will watch the show back. We'll probably be in contact, and we'll go from there. John, again, thank you very much. This last picture that you got on here really resonates with me. I just think it's fantastic. The image, the face, the dog, the grass, everything. I think this is one of your really better works as well, just purely because, like you say, you've got the best of both in there. You've got a child plus an animal plus, background, foreground. I think it's beautiful. So Where's this one come from, John?
Right, the boy. Once again, I was searching for images that I could use. I had ideas in my head of what I wanted to do, and I love painting children. Now, I searched and I found this photographer in America. I approached her and I said, "Look, I've seen a few of your images. I've actually painted a few of them." And I said, "Would you mind if I used them?" And she wrote back to me and said, "I'd be absolutely delighted." So I said, "Thank you very much." And she actually now owns that painting, or an image of that painting, a canvas, I should say. And that's actually her son.
Okay.
Dog, yeah, that's her son. And that dog, she does child model photography.
Right.
And that dog is their dog. And she said to me, she said, "At the time you painted this, the dog unfortunately passed away." So she said, "This picture means so much to me now," she said. So, and actually, again, that was the very, very first pastel pencil painting I ever did. I seem to get a bit of inspiration by using something for the first time. I just find that quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, John, thank you ever so much for being on the show today. It has been nothing but a privilege and a pleasure. Again, if you'd like to get hold of John, we'll put his information on the Facebook page after the show later on today. And obviously, if anybody's missed the whole show, feel free to go back and watch it after the live broadcast. It'll be on there. John, thank you very much for joining us. And we'll see you again in the future, all right?
Thank you, Jason. That's been an absolute
pleasure. John. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Right. That was John Etheridge. You can find his artwork. We're going to post the links to that onto our Facebook page later on today. I'm not wearing my normal shirt, and I'm not in my normal little studio either, because for my next guest that I'm going to have on the show, he's requested that I have a bit of space, because I'm not going to get away lightly as far as I'm aware. I tuned in this morning to our next guest's Instagram live workout, so not only is I on our show, he's already done his workout today. And he's going to put me through my paces. He's waiting in the green room now for us. If you want to join in, feel free to join in. Make sure that you've got some space and whatnot ready. Get yourself some area. Our guests will go through it. Before we go into that painstakingness, I'm going to ease myself in, and I'm going to have a bit of an interview in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome to the show the one and only Mr Ben Hale. Good morning.
Morning, Jason. How are you, pal?
I didn't sleep a wink last night, worried about this, to be honest with you. I was trying to channel my inner Mr. Motivator. I can do this. Ben, all right. So your accent is a lot different to our Stalham down Norfolk way. Where are you from, Ben?
I'm originally from just outside of Manchester, Jason. A little town called Duckingfield. And now live up in Wigton, Cumbria.
Yeah. So you're close to me, or I'm close to you, whichever way it is. I mean, we're going to go into the fitness side first, but we'll get a bit to know you. So where does this all stem from then? Ben, what's your backstory? Where did fitness come into your life, and how did it turn into being a personal trainer?
Well, I would say it's been over 12 years now. I was just like in the pub every day, like most young men are, and I always knew it wasn't for me. So I started going to the gym and lifting weights, because it's what you imagine you just do in the gym, and you think that's all there is. So I went to the gym and lifted weights. At the time, I remember I used to try and run to the gym, which was about a mile away. I couldn't even get halfway, Jason. So I knew that was a problem. And over time, things progressed. I lost my mum due to alcohol. She was an alcoholic in the end. She wasn't always. It was just something that came later in life. So that really pushed me away from the drink as well. I started boxing, and soon found for boxing I needed a lot more fitness. So I started running more. So I boxed for 3 years. Got into the running. Found out I was a half decent runner. I'm not the best. I'm not the worst. So I enjoyed it. And I got asked to do well. I went and watched the local triathlon, the Lakesman Triathlon that they run in Keswick most year. Well, every year apart from this year in Cumbria. And straight away decided there and then that's what I wanted to do. And the PT just come along with it. I did a course, got myself passed out and everything, started doing gym classes. And then when lockdown hit for the first time, I would put on a live workout every day for 11 weeks. And people, when it ended, people wanted to carry on. So I'm now doing the workouts in like a private group plus PT and clients and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I tuned in this morning to have a look at your Instagram. Your warm-up put me out of breath, and I wasn't doing anything, so I'm not really excited for what's coming next to this. So we'll elaborate a little bit more, and then what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of a, I'll put you through your paces, can't I, Johnny? And then we'll have a discussion as well afterwards. All right with you? So the fitness side of things. So boxing, you said that you were doing. You told me so you were an amateur boxer. So you actually, you've let somebody have a crack at your face.
Can you say that again, please, Jason?
You let somebody have a crack at your face with a boxing ring, yeah?
Oh yeah.
I mean, what is it? I mean, that's. I mean, boxing in itself is an exercise. When you see people do boxercise and stuff like that, that looks fun. Where does the mentality from boxing, as an exercise to actually getting in a ring with somebody? I mean, that's got to take a special kind of person, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it does. I started off at the local boxing club, Wigton. It opened, and a few local lads went, and we started going. And no one had any experience. So when it comes to sparring, we're all on the same level, and it was just a bloodbath every week. It was brutal. But some of us kept going back, and every time you walked in the gym, you was absolutely. I won't swear, but you was pooing yourself, Jason. So,
yeah.
With time, and you just built up, and it come to matches, and then you just get used to it. I don't actually mind getting hit that much. Something that I can take it quite well. I was lucky to have a decent chin.
Unlike Dylan White, yeah. We'll talk more about boxing once we're trying to cool down after everything. So we're gonna. I've asked you to put a little kind of like friendly routine together to put me through my paces, sort of thing. So is this something that you do every day then? So what? I mean, obviously during lockdown, you went 11 weeks straight every day. Through their paces,
yeah, through the first lockdown, I decided that I wanted to put something on every day. Just sort of give a bit back to the community, really, because I did it for free, obviously. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. There was other people doing other things. One of my friends, David Yarrow, he was putting like a music set. He's a DJ, so he was putting a DJ session on a few times a week. And another lad, Andrew Blythe, he was singing a few nights a week. And that was something I did. I did the workout, so the three of us were kind of just giving something back to the community, really.
Well, all credit to you. I mean, as you know, with the show, we're giving something back. We're giving some sort of entertainment for those that are in lockdown. We're in lockdown again, but again, it's mostly about mental health. And the reason why I want you on here as well is that a clear example that exercise is good for mental health. I mean, you said yourself that you've gone through some sort of trauma in your life, which is obviously jolted you to go, I ain't doing that anymore. Yeah. I'm going to get myself right. Would you say, I mean, we've got a very big advocate for the mental health, which is Tyson Fury in boxing. I mean, he's proving right there that get your head into something, i.e. sports or an activity, it can clear you up completely. I mean, are you finding, not necessarily with the sport, but are you finding the attitude of your clients is changing as well with the fitness?
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say as well, especially right now when people are stuck indoors, just that 30-minute, I try to do it early in the morning if I can. Mm-hmm. That 30-minute blast just sets them up for the day. They've done it. They know they've exercised. They've released good endorphins into the body, feeling good, and then it's funny. It sets off a chain reaction. You train, you start eating good as well because you're now thinking about it. So you're eating good as well, drinking your water, not drinking too much coffee or pop or things like that. And these things all add up, and they all add up to the mental health and well-being of it. It's amazing what, how they all fall in order. Like eating rubbish food is not going to set you in a nice place mentally either. You're going to feel crap because that's what you're eating. So these things all, sorry for swearing, these things all go hand in hand, Jason.
So I probably shouldn't have had my burger and chips in my can of Fanta last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. But since I spoke to you earlier on the week, I'm on it. I'm looking after myself. I took your advice because, for those that don't know, I've been working nights, and your other day job, Ben, you've also done night shifts, and you've given me a clear instruction. Rather than jumping on the old caffeine and trying to keep myself awake through the night, just a simple glass of water, get a litre inside me through the night. I tell you what, I got home, which is an hour away from work, and I'm still refreshed rather than drinking coffee. So, cheers to you. Thank you very much. Probably not going to like you in a minute, am I?
Do you know what? I'm not going to push you too hard, Jason. I've gone fairly easy.
Oh, okay. If anybody wants to join in, push your sofa back, make some space in your kitchen. Give yourself some room just to stretch it out. Ben's kindly, for comedy value, going to put me through the paces for about 10 minutes, I hope, or maybe an hour, or whatever it's going to be. So we'll do a quick stay on 2 seconds. Let's see if we can get a little bit more in one more scrimmage. We'll push that back there. Right, so Ben, how does the routines normally start then? Tell me.
Okay, Jason. So you've asked for 10 minutes. Okay, so I've got the perfect 10-minute workout. We're going to do a little block workout.
Right.
So what it's going to be a bit like a building block. We're going to start with 30 seconds work, then we're going to have 30 seconds rest. We're always going to go back to that first move. We're going to add an exercise each round for 5 rounds.
Right.
So the second round will be 2 blocks of 30, and then 30 seconds rest. Okay. Let me just get my watch going, Jason, so I can keep time on you.
Right.
Start off now fairly easy, Jason. Okay. We're going to start off with what I call front arm jacks. So
right.
We're just going to bring the arms up the front and jack the legs out to the side. Just nice and simple, okay? We're going to start in 3, 2. Oh, you're away. Go on then. You're away. Go. 30 seconds. Just like that. Well, great work.
Hang on. What's going on here, Ben?
What's that, Jason?
I said, hang on. What, you're just watching me here? Well, I feel
I'm going in bits. I've got to keep an eye on your form. That's my job. You're doing really good, pal. Keep it going. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax.
Woo!
That's good. Good first round. That's 1 round done. 4 to go.
What? I thought that was it.
So the next round, Jason, okay,
yep.
The exercise is going to be out and in legs. So we're seating, all right, legs and bums low, and
yep.
Out to the side and back in, okay? The second exercise, the first one, we've got to go back to them front arm jacks.
Okay, so we'll do the jacks first and then into that.
That's it, okay? 3, 2, 1, let's go. That's brilliant, Jason, that's brilliant. Would you like some music, Jason?
Ooh.
I'll put some music on.
Get some tunes on, Ben.
I'll get them on, pal. Okay, we're going to go into the out and in legs, Jason. Out in legs, let's go. Okay, thumbs low. That's it. You're going to love them, Jason. You're going to love them.
Should my legs burn, Ben?
Great work, pal. Keep going. Seconds. You nearly there, pal. 3, 2, 1, and rest, pal, and rest. Great work so far, pal. 3 more rounds. Okay, so the next one, Jason, we're going to do walkouts. Okay? So what we're going to go from standing, we're going to walk out on our hands and walk it back.
Oh my God.
Okay? But we've got to go back to that original move, Jason, okay? Arm jacks. 3, 2, 1, let's go. That's it, pal. You're doing great. Keep it going. 20 seconds to go. You're doing great, mate. Come on. Easy work, pal. It's easy work. You got 10 seconds. Nicely good. Nicely good. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Drop that bum down. Out in legs. There you go, pal. Get them legs nice and wide. Get that squat in. I like it, pal. I like it. I know you're loving them. I know you're loving them. 20 more seconds, pal, and you're done with these. Keep going. That's it, pal. We're nearly there. 3, 2, 1. Let's do walkout, Jason. Come on. We walk out. We walk back in. Walk back out. You're doing brilliant, mate. That's it, all the way out. There you go. Good work, pal. Keep it going. You got 10 seconds. Come on. 3, 2, and relax. Nicely done, mate. Nicely done. Okay, I'm going to go easy on you. We've got an ab exercise next.
Right.
Okay, so all you're going to do, you're going to drop onto your bum.
Yeah.
All right, you're going to put your feet, knees up in the air.
Yeah.
And you're just going to reach up with your body to your knees, like a crunch. Okay? So that's round. This is round number 4 now. You've got it, pal. You've got it. You're doing great.
Oh.
Okay, let's go then. Front arm jacks. That's it, mate. Keep it going. 2 more rounds. That's it, Jason. Come on. 10 seconds. We're going to out and in legs. 5 to go. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. Thumbs down, Jason. Come on. Nice work. Make sure we get that squat. There. That's it, pal. 15 seconds. Keep it going. Come on, pal. Come on, Jason. Do not give up on me. 10 seconds. You've got it, mate. You've got it. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Walk out. Let's go. You're doing great, mate. You're doing great. I was going to put push-ups into this, so you're lucky. Keep going. That's it, pal. You got 15 seconds. Keep working. 10 to go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, Jason, on your back. Legs there. We'll do them crunches. So just bring the body up, torso up to them knees. Right, pal. You're doing great, mate. You're doing great. You're halfway. We're nearly there.
Well, not one for exercise, mate.
5 seconds, pal. 5 seconds. Come on. 3, 2, 1. Take that rest, mate. Take that rest. All right, we've got one more round, Jason. One more to go. All right.
I'm dying.
Brilliant. That's the move, right? Everyone in my group class, if anyone watching will know this is my favourite. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to do a sprint burpee. So what we're going to do, we're going to sprint, Jason, fast as we can. And on my shout, we're going to hit a burpee. Back up to that sprint, okay?
What the heck?
Okay, let's go. Front arm jacks. That's it, Jason. We only had 10 minutes. I had to make it worth your while. That's it, pal. Lovely work. Lovely work. Keep it going. 10 seconds and we're going to change out and in legs. Okay, 3, 2, Come on, let's get down. Come on, down low, Jason, down low. Lovely stuff, lovely work. You're doing great, pal. 20 seconds, come on. Come on, Jason, you've got it. It's the last round. Stay strong. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Come on. You're doing great, mate. You're doing great. Keep going.
I hope everybody at home's getting enjoyment out of this, I'll tell you.
Keep going, Jason. 15 seconds and we're done with this. Come on. Keep there. 5 seconds to go. We're going into crunches. 3, 2, 1. On your back. Oh, come on.
I'm on the kitchen.
Try this to go, mate.
Oh my God. This is not.
Halfway with this one, Jason. Keep it going, pal. Keep it going. Keep strong.
Oh.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Get on your feet. Come on, we're sprinting. Come on. More power, Jason. This is it. Big finisher. That's not a sprint. Come on, give me a sprint. Give me a sprint. All right, burpee, go. Come on. Great stuff, Jason. Sprint it out. Sprint it out. One more burpee. Let's go. Nicely done, mate. Come up. Okay, Jason, I want you to jog now. Bring it down slowly. I'm just going to cool you down a little bit, mate. It's important. So bring it down nice and slow. Give me some arm circles. That's it. You can walk now. Just walking. Arm circles and backwards. Big circles. Catch that breath, pal.
Oh.
Okay. Hands together. Just give me a couple of side twists. That's it, mate. Bring you down nicely, Jason. And relax. That'll do you for now. I'll just stop this.
Oh. Jesus. Right. Oh, I'm still here. Thank you.
That was alright.
Oh my God. And you do that every day for half an hour?
Yeah. They're not all like that. Not all that intense. We do different stuff. We do leg pumps and tums. We do HIIT. We do all kinds of things. We've done boxercise classes. We do loads.
Oh, crikey. Right, Ben, first off, while I catch my breath, let people know how they can find you and where they can find you.
Yeah. Well, I have a page, Ben Hale PT, on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Feel free to add me on Facebook, just Ben Hale.
Yeah.
The picture of me running, I think you'll find. Yeah, I'm in a running. Yeah. During an Ironman. So you can find me on Facebook, Ben Hale PT. You can find me on Instagram at Ben Hale PT. Or just add me on Facebook. Simplest way.
Right. Oh, Ben. You're horrible. You're absolutely horrible. But thank you very much for coming on the show.
No problem.
A quick workout. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll post the links to Ben's pages on our Facebook page. Go check him out. He's doing free workouts on his Instagram. You can join in there and meet up with Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr Ben Hale. Thank you very much, Ben. Have a good day.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Oh, how do I get rid of Ben? Jesus, seriously, my life. Oh my God. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Once again, don't forget, contact us if you like one of our Chaturday Live mugs. Catch us on all social media. We'll post all the information again later online. I've been Jason Robinson. I'm absolutely shattered. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.